Well, I want to thank so much for all of you, especially the coalitions that have been involved, and of course, my incredible colleague, Congressman Al Green, for his amazing courage. Before I came along, he's been talking about accountability, and I really appreciate his partnership. But especially for the groups that I've been working with, which is Free Speech and Free Speech for the People, as well as By the People coalitions that have been working on accountability to this administration and the President of the United States. I just want you all to know, as I came here fighting for my families at home, many of which don't want to see the merger of, for instance, T-Mobile with Sprint. In the same breath, they're seeing that these companies are spending thousands of dollars at various Trump businesses. And in that, again, that same breath, that the fact that our president hasn't agreed to divest in his foreign and domestic businesses is something that really jeopardizes our core of our democracy, jeopardizes so much of the incredible legislation that we push forward in this Congress every single day. It is all in jeopardy when we have this direct conflict with the United States Constitution, because we need to make sure that our president is working for the people, that our president is accountable to the people. And that can't happen if he's currently still a sitting CEO working out of the Oval Office. And so I'm really proud to be working alongside with Congressman Al Green on this resolution that says we need to look and investigate into these, possibly into these impeachable offenses. This resolution is just the first step in having a much more open, transparent process. This is what we're here for. If anything, we get the president to comply. Wonderful. We make sure we put anybody that wants to run for office on notice that they have to comply with the clauses of the United States Constitution. We're expected to do that. We take the oath of office and expect to be able to uphold the United States Constitution. And we expect the same of the President of the United States. And with that, I would love to be able to introduce my incredible colleague, Congressman Al Green.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to stand with the gentlelady from the 13th Congressional District in the state of Michigan, a lawyer, an activist who understands the issues associated with criminal justice, a person who has served in the State House. She came to this Congress prepared to do the job that she has been assigned. And I must tell you that she's doing exceedingly well and has made quite a name for herself in the Congress in a positive way in a very short period of time. I'm honored to support her resolution, H-Res 257. H-Res 257 is what the framers of the Constitution contemplated. They spoke of it and they made it possible in the Constitution itself in Article 2, Section 4. Actually, Article 1, Section 2 deals with the Congress having the province, the power, if you will, to take up impeachment. Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution tells us about the high crimes and misdemeanors that we hear so much about, and most of us have not bothered to read enough to understand. But I'm proud that she has put us in a position such that the Judiciary Committee will have the opportunity to take up her resolution and act upon it. It's there for the Judiciary Committee to act upon. She has done her job. She's placed it before the committee, and I would hope that the committee would take up this resolution. In so doing, the committee will only do what the framers contemplated, what Madison contemplated, what John Jay contemplated, and what Hamilton contemplated, and what they explained in the Federalist Papers. I would hope that we would understand that this is our moment, that this is not about Democrats, it's about democracy. It's not about Republicans.
That's right.
It's about the Republic.
That's right.
It's about protecting liberty and justice for all. It is about whether or not we are going to allow on our watch, this is our watch, whether we will allow on our watch the Constitution to be subverted and an unfit president to remain in office. This is our watch. This is our opportunity. We have been granted this preeminent privilege by the people that we serve, that elected us. And we would do them a disservice, those of us who believe as we do, if we would not move forward with this resolution that has been called to the attention of the Congress. So I close by thanking the lady and by encouraging her to continue to show the level of acumen that she has shown from the first day she arrived in this Congress. She has demonstrated that she came with a purpose, that she has a mission, and that she will move forward with her mission. I thank you, and I yield back to you.
I next would like to have John Bonavez from Free Speech and For the People to speak.
Thank you, Congresswoman. My name is John Bonifaz. I'm a constitutional attorney and the co-founder and president of Free Speech for People. We are proud to join today with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Congressman Al Green in support of this resolution for an impeachment investigation of the president. President Donald Trump is a direct and serious threat to our republic. On an almost daily basis, he attacks our Constitution, our democracy, and the rule of law. His conduct has created a constitutional crisis that we must confront now. The framers of the Constitution designed the impeachment power to address such a constitutional crisis, to protect the country by removing a lawless president from the Oval Office. We already have overwhelming evidence that the president has committed impeachable offenses, including violating 2 of the anti-corruption provisions of the U.S. Constitution, the emoluments clauses, abusing the pardon power, undermining freedom of the press, directing or seeking to direct law enforcement, including the Department of Justice and the FBI, to prosecute political adversaries for improper purposes, advocating illegal violence and undermining equal protection of the laws, ordering the cruel and unconstitutional imprisonment of children and their families at the southern border, abusing emergency powers to fund and build a wall on the southern border that Congress has explicitly refused to fund, conspiring to illegally influence the 2016 election through a series of hush money payments, and obstructing justice. We may learn more from the Mueller report on that question of obstructing justice, but we do not need to wait for the Mueller report before moving forward now with an inquiry in the U.S. House of Representatives on whether the president has committed impeachable high crimes and misdemeanors against the state, abuse of power, abuse of the public trust. We applaud Congresswoman Tlaib and Congressman Green for their courageous and bold leadership, and we urge all members of Congress to join them. Now is not the time for traditional congressional oversight. Now is the time for members of Congress to face this extraordinary moment in history, to confront this constitutional crisis threatening our nation, and to start an impeachment investigation of this president. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here right now. My name is Alexandra Flores Quilty. I am with a group called By the People. We are a grassroots campaign, a part of the movement to impeach and remove Donald Trump from office and finally make an America that is just and works for all of us. And we know that we cannot do that while Donald Trump is in office and he continues to subvert our democracy, violate the law, the Constitution, and attack our communities and people. Every single day that he is in office is a threat to our communities and the safety of this country. And he has consistently shown that through a pattern of violence and criminality and corruption. We saw that before the Mueller report and the Barr report were released earlier this last week. We have seen with our own eyes and witnessed and felt the incredible pain of this administration onto this country. And the Mueller investigation only showed through the indictments and through of Cohen and Manafort that he surrounds himself with those who subvert the law, break the law, and try to deceive the American people. It was only further proof of a pattern that we have already witnessed and felt as the American people. And that is why there's been a growing movement of people in the United States who have stood up, parents, children, teenagers, high schoolers, college students, young people, who have stood up and taken action and demanded that our representatives do their job and protect us from this unlawful president. Just last month here at the Capitol, many of us who are here took action, and we said that if our congresspeople, if our representatives do not do their job and stand up in this critical time, then we will. And people disrupted and called on their members to take a stand in this critical time in our country. Earlier, Congressman Green said, what will the future generations look back at this moment in time? And we call on that not only to our members of Congress, but to one another. What are we going to do right now in order to ensure that our children and our family members and our loved ones and our country live in a place that is free and safe, that we have dignity and respect? And that cannot happen while we have a president who does not care about the American people, who does not care about our democracy. Now is the time for us to stand up. We do not need the Mueller report to know that he is an unlawful president, has broken the law, and will continue to endanger American lives while he is in office. We do not need to wait any longer. And so now we are calling on our members of Congress to do their job and hold him accountable. And we are so grateful for Congresswoman Tlaib and Congressman Al Green to have taken a stand today and to responded and to protect us as the American people. And all of you who are listening out there who are wondering, what can we do right now? If you're tired of waiting and seeing this corrupt administration continue to attack us, if you're tired of saying that we need to wait for the Mueller report, then now is the time to take action with us. When the people lead, politicians follow. And so if we're ever going to see any accountability, we must take a stand right now. It's on us. Unfortunately, no one's going to save us. We must come together and unite in this moment in order to take responsibility for our country. And next week, By the People will be making an announcement to invite Americans around the country to join us in D.C. and demand accountability. And so, Congress, you're on notice, and we call you to take moral leadership right now, courageous leadership, put country before party. This is not about Democrat versus Republican. This is about doing what is right. And so we call on you to do that. And if you don't, the American people will. We will lead. Thank you.
Thank you. Please open up for questions.
Congresswoman Tlaib, have you spoken with Jerry Nadler at all? Has he committed to bring your resolution to the committee?
No, they're fully aware, and actually we worked very closely with the committee staff on the language, and they're fully aware that we have the intention of introducing the resolution today.
Is there a concern, though, the Speaker reiterated again the other day that impeachment was off the table, so the lawyer indicated he was aligned with her? Do you feel like this is just an uphill battle? Is there division? And how do you address that division?
No, and there really isn't. I think one of the things that I think leadership consistently says to all of us, especially as new members, is represent your district, move forward. And that's why you see people moving forward on bold initiatives like Medicare for All, Green New Deal, and other really incredibly important issues, I guess, for so many that ran on those issues and are very much moving forward on that. This is something that I think for me as an attorney, as somebody that really truly believes in this institution and believes in a transparent process, I cannot continue to look the other way when I have a president that's not following the United States Constitution, something that I had to take an oath to uphold. And I expect everyone, including the President of the United States, to abide by it, and no one, including himself, is above the law.
May I just add one comment?
Yes, please.
As it relates to this. I appreciate your calling to our attention positions of others, but it's not about them. Mm-hmm. It's about democracy. Amen. It's about the republic. It's about whether or not we as a people will continue to fight for and maintain the republic that Franklin said we have. So whenever I hear the question as it relates to others, I want to make it perspicuously clear that we don't do this because we believe that it is the right thing based upon the opinions of others. We do it because it's the right thing based upon what the Constitution says and what the law of the land requires if no person is to be above the law.
That's right.
If we don't do this, we are literally saying that if you can get to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you can be as reckless and ruthless as you like, and there will be no consequences because we have demonstrated that you can do it with immunity and impunity. It's not about them, it's about the country. It's not about whether they're right or wrong. It's about whether or not we are willing to take a stand. and we are taking a stand. All of these people standing here are persons who are representing legions of others. There are many people out in this country who believe that we have taken the appropriate position. I don't speak for everybody, but I do speak for the people who agree with me, and that is a sizable number. It has approached 40% plus, but that doesn't count the people who can sometimes be difficult to count. In my district, I have a good many people who are there, and they are never counted. But they count when it comes to my representation, and I speak for them. Thank you.
Congressman, I know you're moving forward with this even though you don't have a lot of support from your colleagues, but why do you think you were unable to get that support from them this week circulating the letter?
No, I really want you to know, I mean, this is something I've been working with outside groups, progressive groups, especially people, especially in my district. This was more about me representing them. I am fresh off of talking to the American people who are very much worried about this upgraded version of pay to play. The fact that I can be pushing for access to health care, but at the other end, you have people basically using the fact that he hasn't divested in his foreign and domestic businesses as a way in to gain some sort of power and decision of whether or not we are able to pass various legislation that are important to them. And so I do this on their behalf, and you know, for many of my colleagues, not one told me not to. And that's important to know. Not one single person told me not to do this. And I think that speaks volumes more than whether or not they signed on.
And what's your next step if this isn't taken up by the committee?
I mean, like as in anything else, I'm going to work with the American people. I'm going to work with people that are, because many of the movements, many of the things that were bold, many of the things that were maybe life-changing for America and for our country didn't happen inside the walls of Congress. It happened outside in the streets, in the communities, in neighborhoods. And this is the time to educate. So many people are just shocked at the information I'm providing from foreign governments like Saudi Arabia in the same breath, in the same week, spending $270,000 at DC hotel, Trump's hotel, and lobbying our federal government. They know, they can smell that kind of corruption to our democracy, and they want it to stop, and they want everybody held to the same accountability to the Constitution.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah, please.
Millions of Americans all over this country have already called for Congress to move forward with impeachment proceedings. And for people watching the live stream, this is the moment for us to speak up and call our members of Congress and urge them to join Congresswoman Tlaib and Congressman Green. They have stood up with their leadership, and all members need to join them, and they need to hear from us. And I think that the public is on our side on this, and history is on our side, and we need to make it happen. If you listen to former Congresswoman Elizabeth Holtzman, who was on the Watergate House Judiciary Committee during the Watergate era, she said that House Judiciary Committee did not begin impeachment hearings because of a special prosecutor's report.
That's right.
It did not begin impeachment hearings because of an insider decision by the House leadership. It began impeachment hearings because the people demanded it. And that's what it's going to take. The people demanding it, and Congresswoman Tlaib and Congresswoman Green are helping to lead the way. Thank you.
May I just add this? There is more than one way to do this, and I completely support what the Congresswoman is doing. I think that this is a courageous move. I think it's judicious, and I think it's what the Constitution contemplates. But if the Judiciary Committee does not take up the resolution, as a member of Congress, we can bring this resolution or a resolution to the floor of the Congress for a vote. Twice we have already had votes on impeachment in the Congress. With the help of all of these NGOs and others, we will probably get a message to a greater number of people in the country. The masses will get a better appreciation and education for what we're trying to accomplish. And we can bring this to a vote. The Judiciary Committee is a vehicle that we can use, but it is not the only way to get a vote. And that's what's important. People need to know where we stand. I say to people, vote your conscience. But I do say to people, there will be a vote. Without question, reservation, hesitation, or equivocation, there will be a vote.
Well, again, I want to thank the incredible coalition by the people and for speech and for people. Thank you so much, all of you. I really appreciate the incredible work that you all have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.